Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk The Walking Dead comic issue 157, The Whisper War Part 1. This is actually the variant cover. Real quick for those who are new to the single issues of the comic book, if you go to your local comic book shop where you pick up the regular cover, just like normal, you should be able to find the variant cover as well. Always try to go there pretty early. Don't wait till later in the day because they might sell out. Again, just go to your regular comic book shop. Like for me, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I go to Capitol Comics 2. I believe it's on Holly Ridge Drive. Anyway, they are fantastic people. I've been going there ever since I moved here. And I just go. They have the standard and the regular on the new release table. And if you don't have a comic book shop in your area and you have to go online, it's not easy. Talk in the comments. Let us know where you buy yours. Let's jump into this right away with Magna and Heath. I always forget her name. Dwight's new girlfriend and Dwight. It looks like we get a little, a hint of a friendship blossoming there between Magna and Dwight at least. He smiles because Magna says that she's in good company. You know, she likes the company. What else would you be doing, she says to his girlfriend. And this is hilarious. She spots Negan, and Dwight immediately is like, shoot him. Just shoot him now. I love that. Now, Dwight and Negan's interaction, I will admit, I thought Negan would be a little more aggressive, especially once he saw Lucille. But I will have to say, I was completely wrong there. I was wrong there, and I was also completely wrong where I thought Negan was keeping his options open this whole time. And he even admits with his conversation between him, Rick, and Andrea that, you know, he went there knowing what he wanted to do. So Negan's definitely not keeping his options open. He has one specific plan, and he's acting that plan out. You see Dwight's like, what's in the bag? Negan's like, something for Rick, and he says it's dripping. I love these little moments of humor. You actually have a couple, even though this is a tense moment in the story, you have a couple moments of humor in this issue. Another reason why I love it. Now, we see Beta reacting to finding Alpha's dead body, and even though the preview was misleading with no tears, no expression, he is pissed. He cries, doesn't give a shit. We do have one character, for all the fans who thought Negan could possibly take over the Whisperers, and I disagree with it. I still disagree with it. I think they would have to be pretty weak to accept somebody they know came from their enemy. You know what I mean? And they know that because Michonne and Aaron blew his cover. Beta shuts that shit down, and I love Beta for that in this issue specifically because she's like, Negan's not here to claim his title, and Beta's like, bitch, what are you, crazy? I would never allow that. Never in a million years would I allow that shit. And they get ready to go to war. Love that. That's all we needed to see. Just 2 pages. And moving on, we see Negan, Rick, and Andrea talking. Now, you might have noticed it took you longer to read this. I noticed it after about 15 minutes. I was like, holy crap, I'm only a little bit more than halfway done. They're doing a 16 grid with the panels. Now, that basically means there's 16 panels, and sometimes they're going to be in the same grid, except for the top one. See how instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, it's one panel. And they fit a lot in here. If you look at the 16 panel grid where they're using 4 panels in a square here, but it's still that same 16 grid. They mentioned this in the back of the issue, but there's a lot of dialogue and there's a lot going on, and I'm really looking forward to that structure all throughout the Whisper War because it should seem really fast paced, but it also seem like we get a lot of story because of the grid layout. Now, Negan is pleading his case in front of Rick, and I love it. I know there's some fans out there that are probably still against the idea of Negan becoming a good guy or working on the side of the good guys, and this is one aspect I love where it doesn't have to be so clear, especially nowadays where we get shows with anti-heroes, out the ass. It doesn't have to be that clear where you're either a good guy or you're a bad guy. I mean, in this circumstance, Negan is doing everything he needs to do to be on the side of the saviors. Forget good or bad. He's trying to be on their side. Not the saviors, the survivors. And that's all he's telling Rick. He's like, I'm not a saint, but I want to be an ally. You know what I mean? And I love that. Negan was gone a week, and that's why he has a little scruff. And I wonder if he shaved. Did he shave? Yeah. Anyway, we got Dwight and Rick talking, and I love this, how they are redeeming Dwight little by little. Since the first moment we saw Dwight, he kills Abraham, and then after he makes a deal with Rick, when they meet with Rick, Ezekiel, and Dwight, after he makes that deal, little by little, even though we weren't too sure about where he stand really, because we couldn't trust him, little by little they've been showing him things like with Eugene, or where he killed those saviors outside of the wall when Negan and his gang roll up. He's doing things little by little to redeem himself, and we finally get to this point where, and I love this too, because of the history between Dwight and Negan, Rick is like, Dwight, can you keep an eye on him? Can you do that? And Dwight's like, listen, for you, I'll try. So again, I love what they're doing with Dwight from the beginning to where we are right now with his character. Now, we do get a one-page sneak peek of a blossoming romantic relationship between Jesus and Aaron. That's interesting. I can't wait to see how that blossoms or doesn't blossom, because there's a war coming up right now. Next up is Maggie and Michonne, and this made me a little nervous because immediately Maggie's talking about giving them a lot of men. And it made me nervous because I'm thinking, well, what if they split off a little bit and attack the hilltop? Well, Maggie's shit out of luck. And I do know that Maggie isn't on the variant covers, I don't believe. So, yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that's disappointing. I have to look at them again, but I don't think she's on the variant covers. And immediately when she said that, she wants to send more men, or she wishes she could, I was getting worried that, what if Maggie doesn't make it out of this? Maybe that's just the way it is, They're building this up between Dante and Maggie. Something has to happen there. Either they do make it through this, unscathed, and then move into a relationship slowly, because Maggie even tells him, get your hands off me. Again, a little bit of humor in with that tension. Great writing too, because you want to break it up. When the reader is reading it, you don't want it to be all dread. Sprinkle a little bit of humor. Moving along, we get Carl and Lydia, and Carl looks awesome. Lydia looks awesome. They look like a badass couple. Especially Carl. He's got a sword on his hip. He's got a cool new jacket. This is the first time we're seeing that. Slick back hair representing the eye wound, you know what I mean? He's not covering that shit up. He's mean mugging like a son of a bitch. Michonne tells him to stay back and help Maggie protect the hilltop because they're taking guys. And at this point, I'm thinking it's almost a definite the hilltop's going to get attacked. I can't see them leaving Carl out of this fight. Either the hilltop will be attacked, or Carl and Maggie and some other soldiers will have to go and fight at Alexandria. Now, Dwight and his gang are preparing for war, getting each other in position, and we see the kingdom for a little bit, and this is what I love, and I talked about this in a prediction video recently, where the saviors could be the misleading point, but the kingdom could be the kingdom that blindsides us, and they don't want to help, and they leave it off with the leader of the kingdom really contemplating. Now, he seems like he wants to help, and I think that might be a misdirect, where it's like they have that argument, and it doesn't look like they're gonna accept Michonne as the leader either. And he sits down to contemplate. On the last page in the 16 panels, they show him on the throne, on Ezekiel's throne, thinking about what to do next. And they might actually pull their help and not, give any soldiers to Rick and them. And Rick did mention in the conversation with Dwight, if we can hold out for the soldiers, we're good. What if the kingdom does not give any soldiers to Rick and them, doesn't help them at all? Then they're in a place where even if Rick and them survive this, what do they do with the kingdom now? The kingdom betrayed them. They're not allies. They don't trade anymore. It will be a community they know of. Are they enemies now? Should they attack them now? So I think there's some really interesting stuff on the horizon for the kingdom. Now we got Eugene and his radio. I'm not going to dwell on this too much because, to be honest, the lady on the radio could be definitely lying. But Eugene pulled an Alicia from Fear the Walking Dead, and he told the person on the radio, Stephanie, where they are. She claims she's in Ohio. Again, I'm not going to read into that too much because she could be totally lying. But I'll be honest with you, I'm actually really excited with the idea of a gang of survivors like Negan, Dwight, Magna, Dwight's girlfriend, Carl, Lydia. I mean, that would be badass. A little mini, and I'm just picking cool characters. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about the characters blending for the story's sake. I'm thinking cool characters. It'd be cool to see them go out, see what the world's like now after 4 or 5 years has passed, and then journey to the Ohio community. Just a thought it would be cool. Now we get Andrea and Rick talking, and this made me worried. Like the Maggie scene, this conversation they're having and the conversation Rick and Michonne had a few issues before this makes me nervous that Andrea might actually be one of the main victims of the Whisper War. She might be one of the main characters to die in this Whisper War, and that would be shitty. I love her. I'm still representing the Andrea shirt from shop.thewalkingdead.com, skybound.com. I love this shirt, even the quality of it, and I think visually she looks like a badass character. Now, the army gets into position. We have Negan clean shaven. Yeah, you gotta shave, Negan. You gotta shave. All we need is for Negan to fight and to prove himself in battle, and then it's a done deal. He should only next have to worry about Maggie. Oh yeah. So it's not a done deal. Scratch that. Negan might prove himself with Rick, but that might cause conflict with Maggie later on, which is interesting as hell because now I think Maggie might live. They could either kill Maggie off and skip the conflict between Rick, Maggie, and Negan, or they will keep Maggie alive and use that potential conflict for future story development. You know what I mean? Love it. Either way they go, it's going to be a home run, I feel. Actually, I would prefer they keep her alive and she witnesses Negan in battle. Imagine Maggie showing up to battle, fighting off Whispers, and then actually being saved by Negan. What would she do? What is her next step after that? Does she say thank you? Does she shoot him in the face? I mean, seriously, what would Maggie do? Man, the possibilities with this story. I love it. Anyway, this guy goes up on a water tower. I have no clue who he is. I was thinking it was Josh's dad. I'm forgetting his name. I knew his name, but I forgot it. But it is actually Father Gabriel. He's in armor, has his sniper rifle. I'm loving that Father Gabriel's in the story now. And he is shocked as shit because he sees a herd of Whispers / walkers making their way to him. Now, I'll be honest with you. It looks like a lot, but I would have thought there was a lot more, but again, they could be blended in the background. This could actually just be the very tip of the Whisperer army getting ready to stretch out and insert itself into Alexandria. Retreat and then insert itself again. Okay, I'm being stupid now. Anyway, they got a really cool 16-panel layout where Father Gabriel has his oh shit face. Dwight's girlfriend loading an assault rifle. They're getting ready. Negan looks like, at first I thought he was smoking a cigarette, but then it looks like he's eating like a little meal. It looks like he has a spoon in his mouth. And Magna is getting ready to snipe some bitches. Michonne's on horseback, leading a little mini army with Jesus back there. Maggie's playing with her kid. Carl's working at the hilltop. Lydia's reading a book. You have Dante, at the guard tower. Aaron is healing up. We have the kingdom contemplating whether or not they should help out the survivors. We have Eugene on the radio. Andrea's looking up at her husband, Rick Grimes, who's given the speech. There is no cause for worry. Well, I don't really find myself disagreeing with Rick Grimes, but I will heavily disagree with him here. You have a lot to worry about. Listen, I love this issue. I really, really do. Sean said this. I thought it was Kirkman, but it was Sean. He said, talking about this 16-panel grid with pretty much a different character in each panel, he said, everyone featured on this last page will have dramatically different lives 5 issues from now, if they're still living. So that might be a hint that shit is gonna change. I'm very excited to see how the Whisperer War changes the landscape of The Walking Dead. As far as a grade for this issue, it's up there. I'm definitely gonna have to say this is a mid-grade. I had so much fun with this jam-packed story, and it felt like they gave us a lot. And it might have something to do with that grid between the dialogue, the story, the pacing. I loved it all. A little bit of humor mixed in with all that tense atmosphere. Win-win for me. I want to hear what you guys have to say about issue 157. Put your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.